In the ancient days, when gods and men roamed the earth, there existed a mighty god named Tyr. His name, though known to many, was synonymous with war, justice, and the law. Tyr was a towering figure, his frame spindly yet sinewy, a god of great power whose presence commanded respect. He was the protector of warriors and a guarantor of oaths, a god who held the scales of justice in his hands with unwavering devotion. Tyr was a god who embodied the virtues of courage and sacrifice, known far and wide for his commitment to upholding the truth, no matter the cost. He carried with him the sacred sword, Tyrfing, a weapon forged by the dwarves, and a spear that never failed to pierce its mark. But it was not his weapons that made him most revered. It was his unshakable sense of honor and the oath he had made, which would cost him dearly. In the land of the gods, there was a great disturbance. The gods of the Aesir, led by the wise Odin, had encountered a foe unlike any other, Fenrir the monstrous wolf. Fenrir was no ordinary beast. He was the son of Loki, the trickster god, and the giantess Angra both. As he grew, so too did his power. His strength was unmatched, and his rage knew no bounds. The Aesir feared him, for they saw in him a force of chaos and destruction, one that threatened the very foundation of their realm. After much deliberation, the gods decided that Fenrir must be bound, for if he were to remain free, he would bring about the end of the Aesir. Yet, despite their might, they could not find a chain strong enough to restrain the wolf. Each chain they crafted, no matter how great the power of its creation, was broken by Fenrir in an instant. No mortal or divine force could hold him, and his might grew with every failed attempt. But then, a cunning plan was devised. The dwarves, master blacksmiths of the 9 realms, forged a chain unlike any other. It was called Gleipnir, a binding made of 6 impossible things: the sound of a cat's footsteps, the beard of a woman, the roots of a mountain, the breath of a fish, the spittle of a bird, and the sinews of a bear. It was delicate yet unbreakable, a chain so fine that it seemed more like a ribbon than a shackle. However, the gods knew Fenrir was no fool. He sensed their trickery, their desire to bind him with a chain that could never be broken, and so he demanded a sign of good faith before he would agree to wear the chain. The gods, in their desperation, sought to appease the wolf, but none could offer the sacrifice that Fenrir demanded. It was then that Tyr, the god of war and justice, stepped forward. Known for his courage and sense of honor, he was not one to back down from a challenge. With the gods watching, he boldly placed his right hand into the mouth of the mighty wolf. "I will show you no trickery," he said. "I give my hand in good faith that this binding is no trap." Fenrir, seeing Tyr's resolve, reluctantly allowed the chain to be placed around him. But the gods had deceived Fenrir, and the moment the chain was fastened, the great wolf knew he had been betrayed. With a mighty roar, he closed his jaws upon Tyr's hand, biting it off with a single brutal snap. Tyr, though in great pain, never flinched, for his commitment to justice and the oaths he had sworn was greater than any personal sacrifice. Thus, Tyr lost his right hand, and Fenrir was bound, his fate sealed until the coming of Ragnarok, the end of the world. The loss of Tyr's hand became a symbol of his unwavering devotion to justice, and his willingness to make any sacrifice for the greater good. It was a price he was willing to pay for the sake of the Aesir and for the promises he had made to the world. Though Tyr's hand was gone, his legacy lived on. He was forever known as the one-handed god, a god whose strength and wisdom were matched only by his courage and sacrifice. He was a protector of oaths, the upholder of law, and a patron of warriors who understood that true honor could only be earned through acts of courage and selflessness. As the years passed, the story of Tyr's sacrifice spread far and wide. His name was invoked in moments of great struggle, when warriors faced challenges that required not only strength but also the resolve to uphold what was just and right. The gods continued to look to him for guidance in matters of law and order, knowing that Tyr's sense of justice could never be swayed by fear, deceit, or magic. And so it is said that Tyr's hand, the one he sacrificed for the binding of Fenrir, became a symbol of something far greater than a mere physical loss. It became a symbol of integrity, of standing firm even in the face of overwhelming odds. For Tyr knew that justice was not always easy, nor was it always fair. But justice, once upheld, had the power to bind the chaos of the world and bring order to the lives of those who followed its path. The lesson of Tyr's story, passed down through generations, is one that resonates even in our world today. It reminds us that true strength is not found in power or force alone, but in the ability to make sacrifices for what is right. Tyr's courage teaches us that sometimes the greatest battles we face are not those fought with weapons, but those fought with our convictions. Convictions that require us to stand by our word, uphold our oaths, and protect what is just, even when it comes at a great personal cost. It is in these moments of sacrifice, when we lose something dear to us, that we find our true strength. For the world may change, the gods may fall, but the principles of justice, honor, and sacrifice endure. And as Tyr's tale shows us, those who uphold these ideals will never be forgotten, for they are the true guardians of the world, even in the face of chaos and destruction. Thus, let us remember Tyr, the one-handed god, who taught us that the greatest warriors are those who fight for justice, no matter the cost. May we too, in our own struggles, find the courage to sacrifice for the greater good and uphold the oaths we make to the world. For in doing so, we, like Tyr, will forge a legacy that transcends time and echoes in the halls of Valhalla.
If you seek wisdom, why not get it from a god? Subscribe to hear more lessons from the gods.